And the local recording has started, so Tom, you can start.
And I'm good to go. Oh, yeah, we've gone live. Fantastic. Right, here we go. Three, two. Hello, fellow geeks. Welcome to Geeks of Azeroth. Coming up in the show today, the devs kick about in the beta, for the blues at least. The rest of the new character models are revealed, kind of, and a World of Warcraft machinima, 4 years in the making, gets its release. All of that and more in this week's Geeks of Azeroth.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome to the show. My name's Tarly, and with me are the usual people. We got Tom and Zool. Let's start off with Tom. How was your week in World of Warcraft?
Oh, quiet. I I'm about to move cities. I talked about this on the Epic Geeks podcast on Friday. I'm about to move cities for a new job, so as a result, lots of free time getting taken up. However, I do want to tell you guys about something that happened today, and it's probably going to start off on a really weird topic. But I was playing League of Legends this morning, or this
We don't talk about
this
that
morning.
game.
I know. Trust me, I won't be talking about it for long or anything like that. I want to get this out. I've started again, and this morning I was playing as Garen, and as I was playing along, I wasn't that great because I'm clearly out of practice. But as I'm playing along, I've realised after about 2 or 3 games, I started to get the hang of it, and effectively you're tanking for your team. And after about another 3 games, I started to realise I really want to play my warrior again. So I wanted to just ask very quickly: have either of you guys ever played different from WoW that's made you fall in love or just want to go back to WoW for something?
I can't think of a particular game. Well, other MMOs, seeing how bad they are compared to WoW, make me want to go back to WoW.
Burn.
There's a certain MMO that takes place on Nexus that I gave a try and was like, hey, this just makes me want to go back to Warcraft.
Not necessarily other games, but sometimes I'll like be reading a book or I'll watch a movie or a TV show and see a particular type of character and be like, oh, that makes me want to go play a monk, or oh, that makes me want to go play a warrior, like you said. So like seeing similar archetypes in other media.
That's it. I mean, I'm rubbish at my warrior at the moment because I haven't played that. I haven't played League of Legends for about 4 months. I haven't played my warrior in about 1.5 years. So, get out of practice.
Yeah, I feel you there. I mean, after reading this little short story, which we'll cover later, it makes me want to make an Orc Warrior, so I'll probably do that. That's like one of the only classes I don't have, so Warrior, so.
Something that's not a blood elf. Wow.
Not all my tunes are Blood Elves, but how about you, Zool, Jake Zool? How was your week?
Pretty good. I didn't really play any of my max level characters again, but I did start a new druid on the Alliance side.
Yay!
I made a Worgen druid, which I love the Worgen anyways. So I made a Worgen druid, been messing around on there, and it was specifically on Earthen Ring with someone that I've kind of become friends with on Twitter. Across a few different games over the last few weeks, and he was like, hey, come play over here, because he made a Horde character on my normal server. I was like, oh, okay, I'll make an Alliance character in yours. So yeah, I've been leveling him up a little bit, just having some fun, because I don't really have to think much when I'm just leveling at the low with full heirlooms. I'm just like, one hit kill.
Yeah, leveling with heirlooms is very fun. I myself, Tarly, that's me. It's been very cold and rainy, which, this last few weeks before I've been complaining about how hot it is, and now we've taken a drastic turn. It is about 59 degrees right now, which is for August weather in Montana. That is very surprising. So it's been good to stay inside and play some video games. And for me, I've been leveling a mage. Uh, Interesting experience. Like Jake, I haven't been playing my max level tunes, so leveling a mage, and that's very fun. Again, with full heirlooms, you kind of just blow things up with frostbolt, but very fun. I'm undead
the way to
though.
do
I'm
it.
sticking with the horde.
Big sigh. You need to come over to the blue team. The blue team's fun.
But we all know that Blizzard hates the Alliance anyway.
Yeah.
So stick with the winning team. You're bound to have better luck. All right, so moving on to our first topic of the week. Warlords of Draenor beta, we get the new login screen. Have you guys checked that out yet? Have you seen what it looks
I
like?
am right now, actually.
It's so. Go ahead. Sorry.
It's very reminiscent of
Uh-huh.
Classic and
It-
Burning
This is
Crusade.
exactly what I said I wanted it to be. I was like, I just want it to be a redo of the old Dark Portal login, and that's what it is, and it looks awesome.
I wish we had a video of it here because it's much more animated. It starts off completely closed and there's no lights or anything, and then bam, it's exploded and it's on, and very cool.
If
Yeah.
Darius from CTR was here, he'd be screaming out rehash.
Yeah. Rehash.
Rehashed.
Rehash.
No, because it's red this time, not green. There.
Totally
Mm.
different.
New content there.
Totally different.
It's so cool though that it changes when you log in. It flickers and then it
Mhm.
bursts open as red. That I like a little bit more of a creative dynamic to it.
And that really just goes back to like we've talked about before, bringing back the Warcraft, bringing back that classic epic evil feeling instead of the Lord of the Rings-esque statues and Pandaland peacefulness. So I think that's pretty cool.
On the joystick article that we posted with the picture,
Mm-hmm.
the very first comment is video of the login screen.
Oh, well, let's see if I can get that pulled up.
So I'm looking at it right now. I was like, oh look, video. And yeah, you're right. It starts out it's just empty and then
So this is the new
fills
login
in. It's
screen.
really
First-
freaking
first-
cool.
So we're just gonna play this video
What?
for you here. Here it is. It explodes into life, as you can see. I think that's so cool. Yeah, I'm really excited for this to be live. I assume we get the new login screen with the pre-patch. Am I right about that?
I think that's what they've done in the past.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. This is my favorite login screen personally since Wrath. Cataclysm was all right, but
Well, my previous favorite login screen was the previous Dark Portal one, so I'm pretty
Oh.
sure this one is gonna be my new favorite. So
yeah, well, yeah, it's good to see that again.
They've managed to really capture the scale of the Dark Portal. I don't know if Burning Crusade managed it in the same way,
Right.
but that thing looks huge.
Yeah, especially when you
Really,
see the
really,
cinematic.
really
The
big.
cinematic makes it look massive.
Mm. And then we've got our tiny little blip on the other side of it. I mean, how did that happen? How did we get such a small Dark Portal? Our one's tiny.
Well, orcs built the one in Draenor, and orcs, are go big, go home, so.
it's true.
Oh dear.
That just brings up an interesting question. When they made the Dark Portal there, did one just pop up in Azeroth? I don't really know the lore behind that, or was one had to be built on Azeroth for them to come through?
Yeah, I
It was-
think it was something to do with Medivh, right?
Right, Medivh.
Yeah, I think he, had a hand in building the one on the Azeroth side.
Well, see, there you go. Human made one on Azeroth, and it's really small. Orc builds one in Draenor,
orc
it's
one.
huge.
It's just so deceptive. Like if you're on the Draenor side, like if you've got Gron and other like massive creatures,
They
and you go,
get
yeah, but- exactly. They're just like got an arm through or something like that. That's just going to be awful.
Or they can go through, but if they turn around, they're like, wait, I can't fit to go back. Oh, crap.
Exactly. Bad use of resources.
So this week, just a couple days ago, in fact, we saw the Blues, the community team, as well as a few like Brian Holinka and others, take to the beta and play some games with the community playing. Blizzard often does this. They get real involved with their community, love to play and get some feedback. So they were really testing out the new group finder tool as well. So they would just have people make different groups, and they would just hop into each one and do some battlegrounds or arenas or dungeons. And so that was pretty cool. Unfortunately, don't have any footage of it. But some people weren't really happy with this event, and I think Tom can explain why.
Yeah, well, it seems, and I don't know the technical reasons behind it. Maybe people listening understand it better than us. But people on the EU side of the beta apparently couldn't patch up. So they had all the devs sort of appearing, but obviously in the EU department, on the EU service, this wasn't happening. This was almost a very exclusive US sort of thing. So a lot of EU players were a bit annoyed, and Zaheim had to apologise to a couple because they felt like they'd missed out. So I don't know if possibly they might do something again. Maybe not just because they missed it, but because this is a pretty cool thing. Everyone's talking about it, so fingers crossed they can do a bit more and spread it out a bit more, and more people can sort of play with the blues, as they phrased it.
I'd like to see stuff like this expand, not just beta, but on live servers. Blizzard should, hop in and do this stuff regularly, I would think. And maybe it would fix that issue then for the EU servers as well. It'll be more steady on a live server than on a beta server, so they might be able to work that in a little bit better. But I'd like to see Blizzard do this kind of thing more often. It's a great way to be in touch with their community.
And then you realise they all play Horde.
Well, I think there's a couple members at Blizzard who prefer the Alliance, I would think.
They have to sit in the corner of the cafeteria.
Yes, your one blue table is over there. The rest of the cafeteria has red tables.
We're too busy coming out with a new siege right here.
So, what do you guys think about this? This week, Blizzard offered Mists of Pandaria for free to lapsed subscribers. Now, I in fact saw this email because I had another WoW account on a different email address many years back, and then I get this email saying, "Hey, get Mists of Pandaria for free."
You're like, all right, sure.
So I guess this is really an incentive. They know they're losing subscribers, like we talked a lot about last week. Do you think this is a good idea? Do you think this could get people back?
I think it's good because I know for me, like when I stopped playing for a while, and I was like, I'm gonna start playing again, and I was like, oh, I'm like 2 expansions behind. I have to go buy both expansions. Like, this helps people come back. Something EverQuest does. They have expansions like every year. Mm-hmm. But if you buy the latest one, it gives you all the previous ones. So if you stop playing for a while, when you come back, all you have to buy is whatever the latest expansion is, and you get everything that you've missed.
Yeah, that would make sense. I mean, WoW kind of does that with the battle chest in a way, and assume Mists of Pandaria will be added to that as soon as Warlords is actually out. But yeah, I think this is a good incentive to get people back. I mean, a lot of the reason people left was they just weren't incited by Pandaland to begin with.
Yeah.
But if they can at least get the expansion for free, they might come in, level up their characters, and prepare themselves for Draenor.
That's the hope. That's the hope. Although I think it's I think in Blizzard's view it's kind of like stemming a hemorrhage. You're merely going to add. We're talking about adding hundreds maybe through this means. So I think they're just trying to remove every barrier to people wanting to come back. And I think the way they're approaching the new expansion with new lore content and stuff that's really going to catch people's attention throughout YouTube and sort of wider communities and things like that. They're just trying to make it so simple for people just to jump in. So literally, maybe not this expansion, but say the next expansion, you probably could buy the expansion and get the others free. I don't see why all that couldn't be implemented into the game. I think it's a great idea, really. considering you're paying full price for a game and then the subscription the moment you start it,
Yep.
I think that would be a good model, actually.
And Tom Shilton actually said in a recent interview that they don't know if they're going to be able to get subscribers back. They're looking at it at keeping their current ones. They are very much aware that they might not be able to get back over 7 million players. But doing stuff like this, at least they're trying. They're trying to make people come back. But that was kind of interesting to see him even admit that they might not be getting their players back. But still, again, we've said it 100 times before, 6.8 million is still the leading MMO on the market right now by a huge margin.
Yeah.
I think Star Wars has about 1 million right now. They said unique players.
I think
That's not too bad.
Wild starts at 1.4.
Yeah.
Unless I'm horrendously mistaken.
Guild Wars had 1 million around launch, and it dipped under there pretty quickly. So yeah, 6.8 million. Again, people, it's not the end of the world of Warcraft. So, moving on, we got some music for Nagrand and Spires of Iraq, and I have been so impressed with the music coming with this expansion, but usually I'm impressed with all the music. I mean, Pandaland had great music.
Yeah, it did.
Let's see if we can find this music here for you guys. So we have this playing here in the background for Nagrand. It's very lovely, very peaceful.
I like it.
I feel like I should have some candles floating up in balloons behind me.
So Nagrand is the home zone of the Warsong clan, though.
Yes. Which,
So why is it peaceful, do you say?
well, at the time, Nagrand, it's a time of peace, at least when Garrosh gets there anyway. Nagrand is
Yeah.
very peaceful. The Warsong clan has claimed the land, and they're actually very bored because they have no one to fight.
Except each other.
Yes.
When they get upset with each other. He stole my honor.
Yes.
Okay, go punch each other for a
We
while.
must have a match of fisticuffs. But yeah, this kind of, I think that music really encompasses the feeling of Nagrand.
Towards
'cause
the
it's
end of that one, it gets
waterfalls
a
and-
little more ominous.
Yes, it does. But then we hear Spires of Iraq, and it's kind of eerie, kind of creepy.
This is just gonna start being called Iraq, isn't it?
Spires of Iraq, yes.
I mean, every time anyone says it, they're like, no, it's Iraq. Iraq. It's not Iraq. I don't know.
Either way, this music is very ominous, whether it's Iraq or Iraq, it fits either way. Sounds very dangerous, I would say, the music. So, obviously this is going to be a dangerous zone if the music is any indication of what we can expect there. Either way, though, very cool.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Just makes me wonder until some fan comes out with their own version of an Iron Horde playlist, and it's just heavy death metal, and then light mellow tones, and then more heavy death metal.
You know, I was almost expecting a little bit of guitar solos in their music this time, going with the whole Iron Horde. Like it would almost fit. I mean, it's obviously a mythological game, you know, not obviously set in the real world or anything, so they don't have electronic guitars there, I don't think, except for ETC.
Same. You have that. Wasn't there a version of the Arcanite Reaper though that turned you into undead rockstar?
Right.
So you can. I guess
So
you can link
Blizzard,
it.
we want metal for the music, please.
Yep.
Just death metal on everything.
Yes. Especially when we kill Grom. I just want, everyone to whip out a guitar and just... That'd be awesome.
Oh, you're charging through the dark portal into Draenor. You've got Tenacious D in the background. Oh, that'd be so cool.
Yes. Tenacious D in Warcraft. Be amazing.
Be awesome.
So we touched on this a little bit last week, but it looks like the model for Robin Williams' in-game character has been data mined, and
Or at least one of them.
one of them anyway. And I don't think anyone's surprised by the model at all. It is a genie. Here we go. Look at it here. What is his name? Robin the Entertainer.
Robin the Entertainer. Uh-huh.
I think this is perfect. Honestly.
Yeah, I saw that and I just was really happy. I was like, that's awesome. But then the other models they found were a human female which they're saying is likely a nod to Mrs. Doubtfire, which I'd have to agree. And then a human male, who, I mean, could be a lot of characters.
I'm pretty
Or it
sure
could just be-
Robin Williams was a human male. Am I correct about that?
I think so. I think that was his race. And
IGN seems to have settled on Mork, so I think that'd be pretty cool.
The only one we have an available image of, though, is the genie.
Yeah,
as
it's the
soon
only
as
one
we
they've shown.
have more, we can bring them to you, of course. But this is still great. I love that Blizzard is doing this.
Yeah.
Possible confirmation of Nintendo doing something similar in Legend of Zelda in their new one, but they didn't actually straight up say they were doing it. They more kind of beat around the bush that it's a possibility. So that would be cool, but at least we're seeing it in Warcraft. Very cool.
It's tasteful. I think that was what we talked about last time. We didn't want anything. It's all you said. You don't want anything too tasteless, and I think that's just perfect.
Yeah.
Exactly how it should be.
Oh, yeah.
I hope he quotes, some of his memorable quotes from his movies. It'd be perfect.
Good morning, Draenor.
But I do wonder where he's gonna fit in. Is he gonna be a quest giver, or is he just gonna be hiding in a cave?
I think let's just have him chilling somewhere.
Yeah, just in a lamp. You pick up a lamp, and here he is.
That's it, and it just says, click to rub.
So we finally have the rest of the character models that are coming with the launch of Warlords. Unfortunately, Blood Elves gonna have to wait for who knows how long.
3 expansions.
Hopefully 6-1. But first off, we'll start off with the new Tauren female. We've seen her in art crafts already before, but seeing her in game is a little bit different. She's got some very funny facial expressions here, as you can see. But again, just really good. I love the faces. They are so well done. You really get to see the expressions this time around, and the Tauren is no exception to that.
Yeah, the image you had there from Megan from I listened to this podcast, but I can't think of the name.
Megan, if you watch our podcast, we're sorry we can't remember the name of yours.
Because I listened to it, I swear.
I've got it.
Yeah,
It's
it's,
Warcraft Trolls podcast.
Yeah, Warcraft Trolls. Yeah.
Warcraft.
How
But
did you
she
forget
did.
that?
I know. But she the image you have of the Tauren female, all the facial expressions. She has the same collage for the female troll as well.
That's cool.
Where she just has all the different facial expressions for the emotes, and yeah, the new models they just look awesome.
Yeah. And
They look really good.
we finally have the Night Elf male. We've been talking about that. That was the one that we have not seen yet. So we finally have the image of the Night Elf male. This is, it's actually one of my favorites because it's so unchanged, but it still encompasses the idea of the Night Elf. Why can I not get a full screen image of this from this gallery? Thanks, WoW Insider.
The images of the images of the Night Elf. The thing is, these are not finished models. Right. Even it's it's interesting that on the actual Battle.net website you can look at the new models, and the only ones that are displayed, you've got the Orc male and female, you've got the Dwarf, I think male. I don't think there's a female version to it yet. No. The Undead, you've got a male, I think. Tauren, you've got male, and Gnome, you've got male and female. All the other races, you can't see anything yet. So it just gives you a scale of
they
what
are
needs to get finished.
Still adding finishing touches, but it's good to see it in the game. That means that they're at least finishing up here. Just maybe minor details to add. So, but as you can see with the Night Elf, it looks like a Night Elf. He just looks kind of like the humans, I'd say, just better, just buffed up, but still encompassing what they are. And I kind of have a feeling that the Blood Elves are going to be very similar in that fashion. Probably won't see too much of a difference in them from how they look. They'll just look better.
Someone put on Twitter, they said it looks a little bit like how Illidan looked in one of the Kata instances.
Yeah. Yeah. What?
I don't know if that's how they were going with the screenshots themselves, but it looks good.
Yeah, I mean that Yeah, I would agree with that. He looks kind of like Illidan from that one dungeon in Cataclysm. The Well of Eternity, or whatever that one was called.
I think everyone only went into it once, so people probably don't even know what I'm talking about.
Right. So a big thing this week, Tom Shilton was talking about raid tiers in an interview. I think it was the same interrogation-style interview that we played a little segment from last week. But we'll go ahead and we'll listen to this audio we have of Tom Shilton talking about raid tiers. Everyone ready? Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
So the patch speed will keep the same in Mystic Pandaria?
We'll see. The plan is to do something very similar. Some of it will depend on the time before the next expansion after Warlords. So it's very possible that if we're successful and there's a shorter gap, then we won't necessarily want to have multiple raid tier content patches, because each raid content patch needs about at least 4 months to kind of breathe. Any less than that, and it feels like you really just rushed through the content and you were out of it. And it's like, why did I spend all that time upgrading my gear if I didn't really do anything with it for a while? So it's like we want to hit this sweet spot of a raid tier hitting, lasting between 4 to 5 months or so before the next big thing comes.
Oh, no, it's okay. I'm fine. Do you already know how many patches, major patches, that you will deploy on the game?
We don't actually know, because a lot of it is going to depend on exactly what players really want to see more of once they get through the launch content for Warlords, and then some of it will depend on the scheduling for the next expansion. So a lot of those elements always come into play when we're figuring out, exactly what the content patches will be and how many of them there will be.
So there it is. We could possibly only see 2 raid tiers in Warlords of Draenor. Who called that? Who called it?
You did.
I swear Blizzard listens to our show and follows it. And they do what we say, because this has happened multiple times.
But we still don't have beta access.
Come on, Blizzard.
And also that is Tom Chilton talking before last week's show. So
that is true. That is true.
Unless he's got a time machine, he's got the Garrosh DeLorean.
But that is really interesting. So, like I've talked about before, if they only do 2 content patches, or 2 raid tiers anyway, that really could mean we could be seeing yearly expansions.
Seems so. I mean, I think one of the really interesting bits was right at the end, where Tom was saying how, in effect, they, in a way, it's kind of 2 contrasting things. He says how content patches, the amount of them and the timescale of them, will be dictated on one hand by what players want, but on the other hand, it's dictated by what our timescale is for the next expansion. So, I think that would be more like a tug of war. Players I think would like a little bit longer for some content maybe, and Blizzard might turn around and go, yeah, but we're ready now, so let's get this going. But I mean, it's nice to think that they've got a core time scale in their head. They like 4 to 6 months per content patch, per raid tier.
Yeah, regardless of how many tiers they do, 4 to 6 months is that sweet spot. You don't want to go any more than 6 months on a raid tier without it feeling we've been doing this for too long.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think we're living in that example now.
Double.
Yeah.
It is a year now, isn't it? Definitely.
Yep. And it'll be well over 1 by the time we see Warlords. But yeah, I mean, this is definitely interesting to me. I wouldn't be opposed to seeing, a yearly expansion cycle, but I don't know. What do you think, Jake?
I think I was kind of leaning towards like a yearly thing would be cool until we talked about it last week. And I, like last week I kind of said I like having it every other year as long as they space out the content patches so that it fits over the course of 2 years. because otherwise it's going to feel like we're rushing from story to story. I like having time to spend in each new expansion and have the story progress and not feel rushed. But again, it depends on consistent and quality patches to make the expansion feel like it's not going too long for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Someone actually this links to a post that we found in the EU Battle.net forums, and someone did bring up an interesting point. They said that this is Topaz, and his guild's actually called Team Rocket, which is great. He says, I actually enjoy the middle raid tiers more than the start and end raid tiers. He says, Superman in TBC, Ulduar in Wrath, Firelands in Kata, and Throne of Thunder in Miss. They are my favourite raids. I don't know why I like the middle raids so much, but I'd rather not stop the trend now. And I noticed there was another person, I can't remember who they were now or where the post is, but they were saying, imagine what it would be like if we did Miss without Throne of Thunder. Some people might not enjoy it now, but there's a really coarse narrative at the heart of those middle raids that you'll never be able to tap into in the same way. So what are the sacrifices other than we get stuff sooner? You know, are we going to start seeing story bleed away? That was something we talked about last week. Are we going to? I'd hate to feel, yes, I'm getting the expansion quicker, but as a result, we're losing what could have been with the expansions.
Could this also possibly be something that Activision is more pushing towards, because Activision already does the yearly Call of Duty? They might be trying to push Blizzard into doing a yearly World of Warcraft.
Yeah. It could be.
And I agree that would feel very rushed if it was on the dot every year, every November we're getting a new WoW expansion.
Exactly. Every BlizzCon you get an announcement. Yeah. That would be too much.
But I mentioned this theory a few episodes back, and so what if, like I've said before, Warlords is like the big systems changer content, and it's going to be shorter. And then the next expansion, we have a full big story-based 3-raid, maybe 4-raid tiered big expansion that lasts 2 years. And this one is just really putting in all these new system changes.
See, I'd be okay with that. Every now and then they do a shorter one to make updates as needed. Because this one really could work with just 2 tiers. As far as what we're seeing so far of what the story is going to be, this one could work. But like was mentioned in that post, and for Mist, those middle tiers were pretty vital in all these as far as story goes.
I would also say, if you are going to release yearly expansions, make them cheaper. If anything, make them cheaper.
Yeah.
And it would maybe make more sense too if they do cap you at level 100 and start doing something like Path of the Titans or Paragon levels. So I really don't know. I don't really know what the future holds for Warcraft if they stick with this this rumor that we're seeing right now.
The other thing, though, it seems that it's always a game that devs can't win. I mean, I remember, back in Kata when people said we need to make raids and dungeons easier. So they made them easier, and everyone said, oh my god, you've screwed this game up for me. And, with Mist, they wanted features, they wanted LFR, to be sort of expanded upon and things like that. And, it's become a joke, well, the joke of the game by players. I just sit here and think, people are now saying we want content sooner, Blizzard's meeting it, and we're not the only ones to say,
whoa, slow down.
This is too fast now. So I can imagine Blizzard's in a way getting quite fed up with us because.
See what they're going to do. They're going to do the perfectly spaced patches to your expansion. And we'll go like, nope, that wasn't right either.
Well, when you think about it, it's like Blizzard is the government of our world of Warcraft, and it's really a crowdsourced government. You don't really see that anywhere else in the real world. And so, I mean, it's very interesting how Blizzard plays off of trying to balance what they think is best for the game and what the people think is best for the game. And there's always going to be people in conflict. Like, some people want this, some people want that. And people will be changing their minds, as you said. Like, they wanted harder dungeons, then they wanted easier dungeons, and now they're too easy and they want hard dungeons again. And I can guarantee you, at the launch of Warlords, people are going to say these dungeons are too hard. But yeah, I mean, it's very difficult for Blizzard to, I can assume anyway, to really make the right choice for their players because they've got such divided opinions.
Can we call it now though? Because we know from the same interview, that the part we played last week, that Tom Chilton said was it Blackhand that's the first tier? Was it? Or was I right? It's not Blackhand, is it?
Blackhand is the boss of the end boss of the first tier.
And
The first tier.
Grommash is the end of the expansion.
Uh-huh.
Exactly. So he talks about two bosses. He talks about it in a way that suggested it's already been designed as two tiers. I mean, can you imagine if they got to a stage now and suddenly they thought, oh god, we've got to get another tier in now. We'll push it back to December. You know, there's no time left. I think they've said it as two tiers. They're going to sell it as two tiers. And if people don't like it, they'll change it for the next expansion.
If people don't like it, they'll just add in a rehash of Karazhan.
Rehash.
Garrosh comes back from the dead, joins Kel'Thuzad, and they hang out in Karazhan for a little while, and it's just another version of Ruby Sanctum.
Great.
I do think stuff like Ruby Sanctum, or like what they're doing with the anniversary, is a good way if they decide, hey, we need more time for the next expansion, or you know, we want to fill in more content here, people are done with the current stuff. They should have either something in place or be able to make a quick raid to fill in time so we do not have Siege of Orgrimmar all over again. If they can avoid, I don't care what they do. I don't care if they have one tier in an expansion, as long as we don't see this again, the 1 year of a raid. I will be satisfied personally. Just give us stuff to do.
And if I can just add something, as long as they don't do what they're doing with Molten Core and say, oh, we need a filler raid, let's just bump one up to cap. I will get really wound up if they say, oh, they really want some content. Oh, here you go. Let's do Deathwing again.
Oh, God.
And you watch the subs drop.
Yeah, I think Molten Core is a good idea for the anniversary, but let's not make that a regular every couple months. Let's boost a raid thing.
Yeah.
So anything else we'd like to comment on the 2 raid tier possibilities?
How do you guys think it would affect the sort of world first guild structure? Because obviously the races are obviously done in stages, 3 stages they've traditionally been. But how do you think? Do you think 2 is? Do you think it's kind of like if you've got a sporting event that's done in 3 stages and you take one of those stages out, do you think it takes anything out of the race to world first?
Well, really, if they are going to release expansions faster, then I really don't think it'll matter to them. They just get the content finished within 3 or 4 weeks and then wait for the next one. So as long as the content's regular, I don't think it's going to matter much to them. But I'm not a world first raider, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Yet.
Yeah.
We're going for world first, aren't we, guys?
Yes, we are. Geeks of Azeroth.
All on different servers, different EU.
We'll figure it out.
We better start leveling on the same server now.
We will, somehow.
And recruit a few more people.
And I just have to say, it is quite difficult to set up a EU or a US account when you're playing on the other, because you have to install the game completely separately. You have to have multiple installations of the game. You can't just have your EU server and WoW server in the same game, or US server.
I need to fix that.
Fix it, Liz.
Come on.
And you'll see there's going to be an announcement next week that it'll all be in the same game client.
Access all. Yeah, exactly. We're like, boom.
We might as well just work for Blizzard in that case.
I'll accept paychecks. Except then we can't do a show.
Oh, that's not true. Lore has started doing another weekly podcast. So. All right. So on to our next segment, Warlords of Draenor. Dun dun dun. We will have music to go with that soon. TM. We're going to talk about the Hell Screams again this week. We already talked about Grom once, but in this last week, a new short story has come out, posted on the World of Warcraft main page, and it talks about when pretty much the moment that Garrosh and Karos Dormu, I think that's how you say his name, arrive in Draenor, and how Garrosh goes and introduces himself to Grom. So from
Yeah,
this
so
point on,
spoilers if you haven't read War Crimes or the short story. We're gonna talk about all that stuff.
Spoiler alert, and here we go. Garrosh kills Karos immediately.
Yep.
I was expecting Karos to be like a boss or something along the storyline of Draenor, but no.
Nope.
He gets stabbed in the back with his own shard of the hourglass of time thing.
Yeah.
For a bronze dragon, he should have really seen that coming. Really.
Right? Let me give you this sharp object. Okay.
See, and Garrosh was very brilliant about this. He waited for Karos to explain everything that he needed to convince Grom
Exactly.
to
It's
fight
like,
for
okay,
him. He's
wait.
like, you need this shard. It has everything. Just take it to someone with magic, and they will be able to prove that you're from another time. And as soon as Garrosh learns that, he stabs him in the back with it.
He's like, all right, thanks.
And it's actually very brutal. He like stabs him from the gut, and it describes him bringing the blade all up around his neck and
Yeah, like
just
around.
like carving a pumpkin out of Karos, basically. I can imagine that'd be very gruesome to actually watch, but very Garrosh-y.
Yeah. Yep. I like how, and it says, Garrosh watched, curious. He had never killed a bronze dragon before. Okay.
Apparently, his blood was a different color. Was it like copper or bronze coming out of him? I don't know. But apparently, Karos was disguised as an orc at this time. But then, right before he was killed, he was trying to threaten Garrosh, so his head turns into like half dragon. So you have this this blood elf acting as an orc with a dragon head. I just would have liked to have seen what that would look like. But anyway, so Garrosh then makes his way down to the encampment. I can't remember which town the Warsong clan is hanging out in. But Grom is watching all these people do their Magora, or not. That's the fight to the death.
Magora is fight to the death. This was Macrogan.
Macrogan, yes. They're just settling debts with each other by beating each other to unconsciousness. That is how it works. They can no longer fight, and that's when the fight is over. And they were just settling disputes because the Warsong have claimed Nagrand at this point. They have no one opposing them, so they're bored, so they beat themselves up because they can't fight anyone else.
Yeah, he dishonored me, so we need to fight to get my honor back.
And so out of nowhere, Grom is bored, and he's like, who else wants to fight? And down into the pit jumps this stranger, who is Garrosh. And keep in mind, Garrosh is still in chains from originally leaving his trial in Azeroth.
No, Karas Dormer had put the chains back on him.
Back on him, yes. He had kept them in his pocket, basically.
Yeah.
Bag of many wishes.
So Garrosh hops into this arena and says, yeah, I'll fight. And everyone's like, who's this guy?
We don't know who he is.
And Grom is definitely taken aback by this because he just keeps thinking, oh, there's something familiar about you. And in the back of his head, he keeps hearing his dead mate's voice. Give me the warrior's death I deserve. Like, this segment keeps popping up in Gromish's mind. So obviously he's being reminded of his mate when he sees Garrosh. But he doesn't know why, of course. And so Grom lets 4 other people jump down and fight this guy because I think I just lost Skype with everybody.
Well, I'm here.
Oh, hi, you're back. Okay.
No, the 4 other ones, he calls like, who are the guards? How did this guy get in here without being noticed? And they're like, oh, that was us. And he's like, then you get in the pit too.
And so Grom is actually getting a little bit frustrated because he's asking Garrosh, why are you here? What are you doing? And I'm here to protect you. You're gonna bring the end to all orcs. They're gonna be slaves, blah blah blah. And so Gromish basically says, if you're speaking the truth, then you'll fight for your honor, and you'll win this fight if you're telling the truth. So these 4 guards who somehow missed Garrosh sneaking into the camp, they all hop on top of this guy in chains and start beating the crap out of him. He's laying on the ground, and it looks like the guards are gonna win until Garrosh throws some lucky kicks.
Because nothing says you're telling the truth like mortality.
Just unleashes, and basically within seconds, It goes from looking like he's getting pummeled to 3 of the guards being disabled.
Very badly too. He's like dislocating knees and shoulders.
Yeah.
And,
Shattering
and
knees
keeping
and
in mind
breaking
he
limbs.
is still wearing handcuffs.
Yeah.
So finally Garrosh takes out the last of the 4 guards, and so Garrosh is standing here, just heavy breathing, I imagine, and Grom is kind of, wow, okay.
Yeah, and I think an interesting part of that, Grom is like, he fights like I do.
Yeah, and everyone
And,
in the crowd is also saying, he fights like Grom, he fights like Grom.
He fights like Hellscream.
Fights like Hellscream, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So this is getting repeated over and over again, and so he's like, all right, back to my tent, we're going to talk. So Garrosh and Grommash go back and they have a little conversation. Garrosh explains that he doesn't really explain too much, he just says he comes from another time, and that Gul'dan...
I don't think he even says that much. He just says bad things are going to happen.
Yeah. He basically mentions don't drink Gul'dan's magical power, and Grom is still skeptical of this because Gul'dan has magical power. Why can't we just stop? If it's bad, why can't we just put a fist through Gul'dan's heart? I think he said something like that. It'd be very easy. And Garrosh is trying to explain that there's this unknown entity that they have never seen before, and it's really controlling everything. And Grom doesn't understand this. So Garrosh has to take Grom to, what is it, what are they called? The fortune-telling stones place.
Where is it?
The Stones of Fortune.
Stones of Prophecy.
Stones of Prophecy. Yes,
Yes.
he shows Grom his little magical crystal thing, and he says, if we go to the Stones of Prophecy, you'll understand everything. And Grom says, if you're... all right, but I'm killing you if you're lying. Pretty
Yeah,
much.
I'll cut off your head if you're wrong. He's like, all right, because, well, if you don't believe me, it's all doomed anyways, whatever.
And this entire time, Garrosh does not mention the fact that he is related to him. And on a
Yeah.
side note, and while they're having this conversation in the tent, Garrosh mentions something about your mate and your son and blah, blah, blah. And Grom says, I never had a son.
And don't you dare mention my mate.
Yeah, so that's when the reality sets in that Garrosh isn't just in the past, he is in a different universe where he was never born.
Yeah, and he recalls something that Karis Dormer said,
It's
like you'll go crazy trying to compare blades of grass.
Yeah.
Basically, don't try to find all the similarities and differences because they're all over the place.
Yeah, so there is no alternate Garrosh in this timeline. I was curious about that beforehand, how that would work out. So now we know there is no other Garrosh. So they make their way over to these Stones of Prophecy, where there is this grumpy old orc who's, I can imagine, waving his finger like, "Here, you young punk kids, get away from my stones!" But he's basically saying that the spirits are distressed. You can hear the spirits saying, he's coming, he's not from here, he's here! Stuff like that, you know? As Garrosh is approaching, the spirits are very restless by this being who's not from this time. And the grumpy old man's basically telling them, you're not welcome here to Garrosh, but Grom is obviously welcome. But Grom says he has to understand, he has to learn, so Garrosh says he'll sit with the old guy. And Grom takes the time shard and he goes and sits in front of the stones. Now the elements get all rustled, they make some wind and stuff, so nothing can be seen around Grom, and Grom gets carried into a vision where Grom can finally see the future that Garrosh is from, where Gul'dan corrupts them, they drink the demon blood, they go all crazy and become slaves to demons.
Yeah, and the elements are seeing this too, because the elements at first were just freaking out about Garrosh because he doesn't belong here, but then they're like, oh wait, no, this can't be allowed to happen. And the shaman is seeing the same vision as well. And even though he's not up there, he's seeing it too because the elements talk to him.
So now Garrosh is outside of this vision, hearing the prophet guy, shaman, is saying that it's okay. He's basically saying he should drink the demon blood because it'll be okay afterwards.
Because he sees the redemption.
He can see the redemption that the orcs go through. Now Garrosh realizes, I don't want my father to see the redemption, I just want to see the corruption. So he kills the old guy and says, oh no, look!
Smothers him to death.
He couldn't handle the pressure!
We need to save Grom now.
And all the guards freak out, say, "Oh no, the Vision's gonna kill Grom too!" So they interrupt the Vision before Grom can see the redemption.
Yeah,
And
the
so
farthest he sees is that,
enslavement of
going to
thralls.
Azeroth, they become weak and listless. They
Mm-hmm.
stop fighting at all, and he starts to see Thrall rising up, but that's it. He doesn't see that he actually does free them and all that kind of stuff.
So it gets interrupted, and so now all he says, it kind of reminiscent of the cinematic, "We will never be slaves." And that's basically where it ends. That they're going to go off, unite the clans of the orcs, and go from there. So we basically get to see the introduction of Grom and Garrosh together. How that happens. And again, I'm a bit surprised that Garrosh never mentions his relation to Grom. I wonder if he ever will.
I think he doesn't because it would upset Grom too much. Like, just mentioning the mate got him all pissed off. And from the hints that I got, at least, a recurring theme, Grom was obsessed with the idea of not being weak. That the clan had been weak in the past, and they can never allow that to happen. And it seems like that's why his mate died. He blames it on weakness of the clan. And I don't know if he thinks his mate was weak or not, but like he just constantly reiterates, "We can't be weak, we can't be weak." And in the vision, he sees the orcs become corrupt, and then they become weak. They give up on fighting. They're put in the camps by the humans. They're listless. They don't have anything going for them. And so in his eye, that's what he sees. The orcs will be weak. And so I'm guessing that's how he's going to see our orcs when we come over. No, you're the weak ones. You're the ones that fell. He doesn't know that they redeemed themselves and they're actually really powerful now.
Now, I'm almost wondering if there's going to be a showdown between Thrall, as there's always a showdown between Thrall and the final boss, as you've noticed lately.
Yeah.
Thrall and Grom, if there's going to be a little bit before we fight him, like, "Hey, we actually are good orcs, and I have a baby, and I'm green."
Yeah.
I don't know.
Grom does start to see Thrall in the vision. That's where it stops. So he would be like, "Hey, you're the one I started to see."
And then Thrall breaks
Why aren't
out
you
into
a slave
song,
anymore?
just, "It's not easy being green." Yeah, and,
That would be amazing.
I think Thrall's getting killed off. I think he's getting killed off in tier 1.
yeah, we did discuss that last week, and I can definitely
It'd
see
be
that
a
happening.
bold decision.
What if Garrosh kills him?
Ooh.
Dun dun dun. And then we kill Garrosh. I actually
Yeah,
kind of just hope we never have to fight Garrosh again, but
This story made me hate Garrosh all over again. Because like we talked about, the cinematic kind of started siding with them. You're like,
Handsome
yeah,
Gary.
actually taking down Gul'dan, stopping the corruption, that's cool. But then in this, he's just like, I just need to smother this old guy. I was like, God, you're a jerk.
and
You're a jerk.
I still respect Grom as a character. He feels like a strong leader, and he's doing what he feels best for his people. And now he's being manipulated by his own son. So yes, he's going to be our enemy, but at the same time, he's just doing what's best for his people. So it's hard to think of him as equivalent to like Illidan or the Lich King, something like that.
Yeah, I agree. The way that I'm kind of seeing him as the villain is, again, going back to that weakness thing, is that he's just obsessed. He's going to be blinded to the fact that we aren't weak anymore. And it's kind of like we don't want to do this. We can see that you are noble, but your obsession is just driving you too far.
And since they said
which
the
is
burning,
kind of what happened to Garrosh.
yeah, and they said the Burning Legion is going to have influence in the final raid, so I can kind of see him just drinking the demon blood from Gul'dan anyway.
Eventually,
And then
like,
that's
going
the
back to
path
it.
of the end tier.
Ooh, yeah. So what if he refuses it right now?
Yeah.
They invade. We push them back. We invade their world now, and he's like, "Never mind. We got to drink it anyways. Let's go," because we tried and they pushed us back, and then they came to our world.
Mm-hmm. And I can very much see then.
And so he decides to do it anyways.
Sargeras, he's the demon guy still alive, right? Yeah, we killed Jaden. So Sargeras, I can see him not being very happy about this, that we defeat his every effort so far. So he's going to launch a full-scale invasion of Azeroth, hence the next expansion. I'm going to predict that right now.
they the devs have come out and said that before the cinematic, there was a lot of fan discussion about, is it true that the Burning Legion exists in all these planes of realities, and that it's the same Burning Legion that we fought in Burning Crusade as now? And they come and said from the cinematic that they exist in their own little time plane. So technically, we could fight entirely new versions of them.
Am I wrong to say I thought the Burning Legion was across all timeways? That they're kind of like the Titans. They are.
They're the same in every zone, in every existence. It's the same Burning Legion. There's not multiple versions of them.
Like Manaroth,
but then
he's not a demon. He's a pit lord. So yes, there's going to be a different Manaroth. But I think the demon, like Sargeras, he is universal across all timeways. He's the big bad.
Right, fair enough.
Okay,
that might be it. Cause they were saying Manaroth. The reason, how can I put this? They were trying to explain Manaroth's death and how that doesn't impact anyone else. And so I guess if Sargeras and Kil'jaeden exist, then above the planes of existence, then that makes sense.
Yeah. And same with the Titans and the old gods. Like
Manaroth is just a pit lord. He's just a demon. So he exists in all the different ones separately.
Oh, we are really diving in deep into this lore discussion here. It's very interesting.
as one question, I mean, as an Alliance player, it's fair enough for me to say that the Alliance are there just for a jolly boys outing. We're just here to kick back and relax and not get beaten up. But with the Horde, not to say I'm not saying there's going to be a big Horde-centric view. The story, I didn't read all of it, but certainly from the beginning, you get this sense that Garrosh still perceives the Horde that was in Orgrimmar and got beaten, and this new one that he sent out with Grom. He very much perceives it as my Horde. Yeah. And with Grom, I imagine he perceives it in a similar way. But obviously, and so this probably is something interesting for you, the Horde that we know is ruled by a troll. And I think that might be a characteristic of why Grom thinks they're weak, because it's not an orc that leads them.
It's another race.
How do you think...
Sorry, I think I just lost both your feet again.
Oh, we might jump.
Tom was cutting out for me. Are you still there?
I can hear you guys. Okay, we're back. All right.
Okay.
Oh.
But what you're saying on the trolls, I don't know if that's going to be perceived well or not, because actually, Vol'jin does not go through the Dark Portal. He's sticking behind in Orgrimmar on his throne to rule the Horde. It's actually Garrosh and I can't remember who else is leading the charge with him through the Dark Portal. Or not Garrosh. It's Thrall and I can't remember who else. But
Southang or who else? Can't remember now.
I know there's an Alliance person with him.
Is Varian going through?
I don't think Varian goes either.
I imagine it might be Jaina going through from the Alliance.
Yeah. But I know Thrall is leading the Horde.
She wants Garrosh's head.
Yeah. So that's very possible that Jaina's going through. But yeah, I don't think they'll know about Vol'jin leading the Horde. I don't know.
Well, when they come through, I mean, Garrosh knows that Vol'jin's in a war chief, so he can tell them, this Horde, look, first they're green, they're the corrupt weak orcs, and they're led by a troll. They're not even led by orcs. And yeah, Grom would probably,
Garrosh is very racist.
He is. He's like, yeah, you can join us as long as you serve us. You're not equal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that would be a big thing to make Grom want to fight us.
Yeah, they let everybody join their Horde.
That there.
Them there green orcs let everybody fight with them.
Just got your spit bucket next to you. But I mean, without taking it too far, obviously, I think this is a fault with the cinematic. But it seems, and I'm for this as well. Everyone seems to forget they're a Draenor.
Yeah.
And I find myself now discussing. We've talked about orcs. But obviously, the Draenei are going to come in with the Alliance, and they're going to want to sort of get in contact with their sort of ancestral home before it got destroyed, because many of them wouldn't necessarily have that same connection. So it's going to be interesting as to how the Draenor interact as well as how the orcs sort of get in touch with
Right
them.
off the bat, isn't I always forget the real name of it, but the
Valen.
Black Temple.
Oh,
The Black Temple is under siege, like by the Iron Horde, like right off the bat. So
Yeah, because I know Grom brings it up to Garrosh in the short story. He's like,
Yep.
"Well, you're just telling me to go kill the Draenei too. Why? You just want me to do the same thing Gul'dan does?" And Garrosh is like, "Well, my goal isn't just to fight them, but they will try to stop us doing from what we're gonna do. So we might as well just take them out now."
yeah, so they are going to be after the Draenei anyway.
Yeah, it's like a preemptive strike. We know that they'll step in to try to stop us, so let's just go take them out real quick and then move on.
Sucks to be blue.
But this kind of does move us into our world-breaking discussion here of do we want the Alliance and Horde working together again? And we kind of see this happen on and off throughout the past expansions. Like, we're going to fight each other, but we're also working towards a common goal. But it seems like we're the least divided now than we've ever been. We had our little war on Pandaria, led by Garrosh, kind of fueling the fire there. Now that's taken care of. We are together. We have no reason to be fighting each other except for this little island that we want to fight over in the corner. But that's not important. We're all working towards a common goal. Do you think we'll really be united this time, aside from Ashran?
I don't know. I feel like, we're definitely united in what we're going to do, but I think there's a lot more tension than there has been in quite a while between the two sides. Because I think during, like, Wrath and Cataclysm, there wasn't even that much tension between the sides. But now, there is still a lot of tension left over from everything Garrosh did. A lot of the Alliance feels like it was your leader. Sure, eventually you stood up to him, but you were with him for a long time, and he was doing these horrible things, and what were you doing then? You weren't rebelling when Theramore was bombed.
Yeah.
Like, you may have stepped back and refused to participate actively fighting him until just this last little bit. So even though we're working together now for sure to go stop Garrosh and the Iron Horde, I think there's way more tension than there has been in a while.
And also, you think just to the end cutscene of Siege, you've got that great bit Varian says where he's like, if you step out of line again, we'll just end the Horde. And I love that.
Yeah.
I thought the Alliance had absolutely enough now. You have, if you're on the Horde side, I didn't realise this until recently, if you speak to Sylvanas, she doesn't like Vol'jin being in charge, and she says that she might have to do something about it. Jane is obviously niffed at Varian because he hasn't, he didn't end it there and then. So I feel like really I don't want us to ally really, but even if we do come together for this, we're going to be tearing each other apart, and not only Alliance versus Horde. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a little bit more Alliance, like not taking on Alliance face to face, but sort of Jaina just goes rampage and just blows up.
Well, and I don't know. I feel like when people say Blizzard loves the Horde, I feel like that's not so much the case because the Horde is falling in on itself right now. It's very unstable, like you said. Like the whole thing with what's her name? Why can't I remember her name? You just said her name. Sylvanas.
Jaina?
Sylvanas. She and her undead, they are at the brink of separating themselves from the Horde and being their own faction. That's how much Sylvanas hates Vol'jin leading the Horde right now. And then there is the Alliance looming over us. Like, the Alliance has so much power over the Horde right now. Like they said, they will destroy us if we step out of line. That's like, yes, master. The Horde is
it's
actually
only really a step away from the camps.
Yeah, the Horde is very much the underdog going into this if we were to start fighting each other again, because we've been at such conflict with the orcs, and yeah, we're very unstable as it is right now. So we kind of have to be nice.
In this expansion we will get together. the raids are going to be like how Ice Crown went, where there's rivalry literally, like imagine two sides rushing for the finish line and one of them just trips the other one up and sticks a sword in his back.
I want to kill Grommash.
I'd like to
No,
see a bit
I
of that.
want to kill Grommash.
Everyone's got a score to settle, so why should we let the Horde win, or why should the Alliance get the first blow? Just
Eventually,
let's
there should just be
beat
two
them up.
different raids. The Alliance raid and the Horde raid. That'd be too much work, though.
That'd be hard.
For Blizzard to do anyway. Two completely different raids, and then you'd feel like you're almost missing out. You'd have to have an Alliance max and a Horde max. At least I'd feel like I would have to, because I'd want to see both sides. It was hard enough for me to know that there were two different cutscenes at the end of this Siege of Orgrimmar.
Yeah.
So I think yours was a little bit more pivotal than ours. Jaina's just niffed that her hair got dyed.
We get
That's about it.
we get all sorts of stuff in ours.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I-
Something big happens.
I think things can even out though if Jaina settles down and realizes that hey, we are the Horde that you wanted us to be now that Garrosh and all orcs aren't bad. Once that gets realized, we might actually be able to work together.
Yeah.
But obviously, we do have crimes to attest for, even though they were led under Garrosh. But if you did read the book, War Crimes, Jaina does kind of calm down at the end when she almost dies, and the Celestials resurrect her.
Which I'm glad, because I really, really liked Jaina until she just went. She became really one-sided character. Hate the Horde.
Yeah.
And I was like, she used to have so much more. Like, she was more complicated. There was more going on. She was more fully fleshed out. And then all of a sudden, it was just like, get rid of all that and just one-track mind. And I really didn't like her.
Yeah.
And then when she started to sort of calm down a bit, I was like, okay, please, thank you.
Yeah, at the very end
I
of
want to go
War
back to
Crimes,
liking her again, because I used to really like her character.
the Celestials did their, they gave their wisdom, very nice talk that they gave everybody there at the end when they resurrected anybody who was injured. And said, "Hey, work together here. Be nice. You guys are all the same."
And then I want Bane and Anduin to go back to being buddies.
Yeah.
Because I really liked that, and like the mace, Fearbreaker.
Yeah. Anduin.
I love that. I like when the Horde and the Alliance are kind of working together like that. Like, obviously, there's always going to be that bit of tension between them.
There always has to be PvP.
When there are the few that are trying to make it work, I like that a lot.
Mm-hmm. As long as our leaders agree with each other, I think that's where we need to be. Obviously, PvP has to have a standpoint, or else it makes no sense. So there has to be a reason for the PvP to exist. But other than that, I'd like to see our leaders working together at least through this expansion, so we can take down Garrosh without Jaina yelling.
And then
at
if the next expansion is like the Burning Invasion,
yeah,
well, then we've got to be working together for that.
A divided Azeroth is a dead Azeroth.
Rathian may be a jerk, but he's right.
Yeah.
Rehash.
Oh man.
All back to Hyjal.
So the Prince's Gaze. This is our next segment where we just kind of go on, talk about things that are going on in the community. So we don't have much more time. We got 5 days to qualify for the North American Arena Tournament.
All right, let's do it.
It's less than that now, actually. It closes on Monday.
So, Tom,
All
what
right.
you need to do is you need to buy Warlords on a U.S. server so you can get a 90. We'll get geared up and we will do 3v3s, and we are going to BlizzCon in the tournament. Okay?
So I've got to install it.
Yes.
I've got to get the boosted character, redo
I'll
his gear
into
to
work today
PvP
and
gear.
tomorrow and Monday.
You have to get a rank to 2,500 at least to be considered in the arenas. So that is something we can do in a couple days. Right, Tom?
Yeah, if you want to join me for this 48-hour stream, feel free.
No, but seriously, if you guys are considering being a part of the tournament, you've got 5 days to become 2,500, and then you can qualify. And it goes on from there. Personally, the WoW tournament was my favorite, one of my favorite things at BlizzCon last year. especially because Conan was there. If you didn't know, Conan was a part of the broadcast. I was sitting right behind him, and I waved to the screen. But that was awesome, and I love to watch the teams do their thing. It was kind of very one-sided. I can't remember what their team name was called with. Who were they? With Soda. Soda. He's a very common druid healer on the PvP side of things. But they were just kind of winning every game they played last year, so I would like to see more diverse teams. So everybody, get to 2,500 and give us a show for BlizzCon this year.
And if that doesn't win you over, the total prize for this year's North American Arena tournament is $250,000 with a winner's share of $120,000. So I don't know how that works.
And now we have some music as we're discussing it.
That's a phone, I think.
And there's always the professional podcaster didn't turn off his phone.
There we go. That's professional.
But yeah,
Yes.
what's more exciting than $120,000 to win a Warcraft arena tournament?
I could use the money.
So, that being said, we're going to have a 48-hour-long live stream of us gearing up our tunes. I'm already there. I've got full Conquest gear, guys, so I will carry you.
I have not PvP'd in WoW very much, so here we go.
I've got 3 tunes fully Conquest geared, so we can just take your pick out of which one you want me to play.
I can bring a feral druid, I guess, or a balance.
I'll be cheering. That's about it.
But really, the arena tournaments are really fun to watch, so even if you're not participating, check them out on Twitch, because they're always on Twitch. And, of course, the Warcraft at BlizzCon. Get that virtual ticket, because it's totally worth watching. Very entertaining. These guys are very talented. They spend a lot of time hitting those buttons, learning which order to push them in. So, yeah, worth watching. What else we got going on? We got some web comics to check out. Who wants to talk about those?
Yeah, do
Tom?
you want me just to run over this quick?
Yeah.
Basically, Joystick have a segment, a WoW Insider, I should say, where they talk about sort of just a series of webcomics to catch up on. And I thought if we share a couple of them with listeners. So if you wanted a World of Warcraft webcomic or a few to check out, you have got, I'm just going to read the names, just check them out, obviously in your own time. You've got Gilded Age, Trigonometry Comics has one, I believe, called Doors, No More On Forever, Gratz, Dark Legacy Comics has one, you've got Best in Slot, Looking for Group, To Gladiators, Fox Rain, From Draenor with Love, Away from Reality, Experience Boost, and Contested Territory, which I think are pretty cool names.
I love that. From
I
Draenor
used
with
to
Love.
read. I used to stay up with Dark Legacy and Looking for Group. They're both really, really good. I'm pretty behind on them right now, but they're good stuff. Looking for Group is more inspired by WoW than directly supposed to be WoW, and it's actually like it's not just little, like a lot of webcomics are just little jokes. It's a fully fleshed storyline in its own world with lots of characters, lots of stuff going on. It's really good. And then Dark Legacy is one of the ones that they're definitely, it's directly WoW, and that just plays off like the mechanics of WoW and how they would apply if they were actually real people. It breaks the fourth wall. It's pretty funny.
So, another thing I'd like to point out in the community is we here love machinima. Machinima is one of the great things about the WoW community. But I have never seen anything to the extent of a movie-length machinima until now. We've got Bloodlord 001 on YouTube has compiled an hour and 50-minute machinima to tell the tale of Richard Knack's Well of the Ancients, or Well of Eternity. War of the Ancients, Well of Eternity. It's a,
the first
it's a trilogy of
War
books.
of the Ancients trilogy.
Yeah.
It's just the first book.
Just the first book. He's going to do all 3 books, if I remember correctly. And so just the first book he has told in machinima, and it's an hour and 50 minutes long. So obviously, we're not going to play the entirety on the podcast.
Sit back, relax.
But I will show you just a brief clip. I'm just going to click in the middle of the storyline, so spoiler alerts, we're going to watch a little bit of it right now.
Tyrande, what a surprise. I was just passing by, and praise a loon, we ran into each other.
Alright, so I know what I'm doing tonight. I'm going to grab some popcorn and a beer, and I'm going to sit down and watch this entire thing. And I recommend you do the same. It looks like he has spent a lot of time compiling this together.
4 years.
4 years, ladies and
It's taken
gentlemen.
him 4 years to put this together.
Rehash! Oh, but really,
Just sucks that they're now doing a Warcraft movie as well. So he probably thought he had like this little niche pocket for a good few years, but there's going to be a new one soon. But that's amazing quality for someone who's just been, working at it. That's part of the
I mean,
team.
you may say like, well, this isn't Pixar quality animation here. Of course not. It's WoW Machinima. You have to go through and use this little tool. It's called WoW Movie Maker or WoW Model Viewer, and as well as some other tools to really compile this together. So if you've ever tried to make machinima, you know how much time goes into this. So 4 years into the making of this machinima movie, I would definitely recommend checking this guy out on YouTube. Just a lot of talent here. So now we're to our final segment of the show, Hero's Call, where we have any shout-outs that we'd like to give. We'll start off with Tom. Anybody you'd like to mention this week?
Yeah, I'm just going to sort of reach out to the people on Twitter. We've had quite a few people sort of getting in contact with the show, so I'll just read through the list. We've had Discarded Replicant, Tahu, I hope I pronounced this right, I never do well with names, Tahu the Big Tauren, no guesses for what he is. What else we got? Teresa, Magnet, who told me exactly how he feels about not being in the beta. And finally, you got Benjamin E. Price II, who I think that's the name of our next king. I think Varian's going to have a son and call him Benjamin E. Price II. So, but big thanks to all you guys for getting in contact via Twitter.
Definitely. Thank you very much. And Jake, what about you?
Yeah, I actually have a shout out. I told you the Alliance character I made was actually by invitation from Twitter from @Racoonatic, and he actually coined that term, Racoonatic, and is the biggest fan of Rocket Raccoon from Guardians of the Galaxy. And so
You're not the biggest fan?
that he coined the term that is the name for the fan base of Rocket Raccoon now, accepted by Marvel as the term. He made it up about a year and a half ago at Comic-Con. He got up at the Guardians of the Galaxy panel and was like, "So I'm a Racoonatic," and they were like, "Huh, all right." And so it's like you can actually find it on the Marvel site now and stuff. But yeah, so I actually met him through Twitter and Marvel Heroes, and because you can play as Rocket Raccoon in that. But anyway, so he invited me to come make a character in his server, so I'm going to shout out to him. And the guild that he made over on Earth and Ring Alliance is a Worgen-only guild called Guardians of Gilneas. Obviously, a shout out to his favorite thing, Guardians of the Galaxy and Rocket Raccoon.
Cool.
But yeah, so shout out to him, Racoonatic.
So, me personally, no personal shout-outs that I'd like to give, but I usually like to mention people in the community, in the WoW community, who do stuff that I like to point out. So this week, I'm going to just give a quick shout-out to WoW Krendor. If you've never checked out his YouTube channel, he's making YouTube videos all the time, all WoW specific. He has the beta. But
sure.
He has great coverage of the beta, so if you've not checked him out, I would definitely do it. Here's a quick preview. YouTube.com/WoWKrendor. He's got some great videos, and he does machinima himself, so give him a check. otherwise, I think that wraps up our show for this week. We'd like to thank everyone for listening. Our show is available on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, and Twitch, and coming to Hitbox very soon. So you can definitely reach us on Twitter, follow us, and give us some messages at Geeks of Azeroth on Twitter, not Twitter. You can follow me personally at Tarly_pause. That's PAWZ. And Zool?
At ZoolGeek on Twitter.
And Tom?
At TC McElroy.
TC
As
McElroy. And you can
I
contact
will
the
change
show.
that.
Again, we can't stress enough how much we want your questions. Ask us something, please. And besides Twitter, you can always reach us at geeksofazeroteg@gmail.com. And remember to check us out on epicgeeks.co.uk to check out this show, plus everything else we do on that website. We've got plenty of gaming news for you. We've got Geeks of Nexus, a great podcast that covers our another little MMO out there. What's it called? Wildstar, maybe? Check them out. It's a great show, as well as just the Epic Geeks podcast, and many more things to do on that website. So we'll be back same time, same place next week. Until then, have a great week in Azeroth.